What is the difference between a hill and a mountain? How are mountains formed? How long can they last? What happens to a mountain when it gets too old? These are important questions. Hi, I'm Mr. Peters, your guide to online grade 7 geography, and today our topic is mountains. We are going to explore those questions: how mountains are formed, what characteristics make a mountain, and what happens to a mountain when it gets old and weathered. Now, you might be thinking, Mr. Peters, I already know what mountains are like. I've seen them. I saw a picture. I saw a mountain in a movie once. Well, to that I'll tell you, do you really know mountains? Do you know the effects of thinner air on the habitat at the top of a mountain? There is so much that we have to learn, and even if you know some of the things that I'm going to teach you today, please stick around. I'm going on an adventure later. You'll probably meet my dog. I will definitely make a fool of myself, as I think I am currently doing. So let's do this. Here we go. Picture a mountain in your mind. Does it look like this? Or this? Is this a mountain? Mountains, like all landforms, have common characteristics, the same things that are present in most examples of that landform. Some of the common characteristics of mountains include that most mountains have peaks. Most mountains are found in ranges. A mountain range is a chain of mountains that are usually very similar to each other, that you can find a line of them that stretch across the land. Another feature that you're probably guessing is that they are tall. But how tall? How tall does a mountain need to be? Well, there is not a specific number that a mountain needs to reach in order to earn its proud and mighty title, though there is an agreement that mountains must be far above sea level. Sea level is the level where the ocean meets the coast. And the mountain must be considerably standing out from its surroundings. So you'll know that there's a mountain there because it's much taller than the things that are around it, like hills. Another common characteristic of mountains is that they have a different climate on the mountain than the land that surrounds it. The air is different, the temperature is different, the weather is different. What do you think? On a mountain, is it warmer or is it colder? Is it more wet or more dry? Is the air easier to breathe or harder to breathe? Well, mountains don't make life very easy. It is colder, wetter, and the air is harder to breathe. We call that thin air, and it's because there is less oxygen present in the air that they breathe. But life does find a way. There are unique plants, animals, and people that choose to live on mountains. And they do that by adapting. Physically, adapting how their body is able to process the thinner air with less oxygen. And socially, how they choose to do things. How they get their food is different. How they remain warm is different. An example of mountains in Canada are the Great Rocky Mountains in British Columbia. These are examples of fold mountains. Next, how are mountains formed? How are mountains formed? We have learned in the past about the concept of plate tectonics, the idea that all around the globe, the Earth's crust is divided up into continental and oceanic plates. These are massive chunks of the crust that are constantly moving at extremely slow but powerful speeds. Their movement causes them to bump into each other, to slide against each other, or to move apart from each other. Each of these movements causes big changes in how the world is shaped. We have the creation of mountains, volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis. All of these and others result from the movement of the tectonic plates. In the case of fold mountains, this is where you have one plate and another plate, and they move towards each other, and when they collide, the Earth's crust has to go somewhere. Some of it will go up, some of it might go down, depending on if the plates are moving against each other or if there is a really direct collision. Let's take a look at this through a little example. So I have a bunch of pieces of paper here, which we're going to imagine are pieces of the Earth's crust. Let's call this part a continental plate, and let's call this part an oceanic plate. They're going to be moving towards each other. Watch what happens to the Earth's crust in between. All right, here we go. They're moving. They're moving. This would be taking place over hundreds and thousands of years. You can see the mountain gets taller as the plates get closer together. Now, if one were to slide under the other, it would enter the mantle and begin to melt. And this would cause the mountain to start to settle. This is how fold mountains are formed. Next, let's find out how mountains are changed over time. What natural or human effects can change how a mountain, one of the biggest and most powerful structures there is, be changed? To do this, we are going to need to go somewhere. I'm going to go on an adventure, maybe look for a mountain. Let's see if I find one. Let's go. Welcome to my mountain of stones. This is what we are going to use to simulate how mountains can not only stop growing, but can start to shrink over time. We've just learned about how mountains are formed, with our tectonic plates forming our fold mountains. But do mountains grow forever? Some are still growing, but all of them are affected by nature and human activities. Today we are going to learn about erosion. Erosion is nature's process of weathering down a physical landform to change it into a new shape. Types of erosion include rain, wind, ice, glacial movement. Those are the main ones that we're going to start to see throughout our next lessons. Today we're going to explore rainfall. What happens when rain affects a mountain for days, years, millennia? Let's see what happens. We are about to simulate rainfall on top of this mountain. And what I want you to pay attention for as I rain onto the mountain is, where does the organic material go? What happens to the minerals that are knocked off of the rock face? Where are they swept into? How does rain change the effects of a mountain? Are you ready? Okay, here we go.
Now, as you can see, much of the water here is actually being absorbed into the pile of rock. Most mountains would actually not be this porous, but would be hard, allowing the water to flow down. But you can still see the effects of the water building up that mound of stones, potentially creating a landslide in the future.
Nature is not the only thing that can change a landform. Humans and animals can also have an impact on a landform, whether it's through mining or through building roads or railways. We often will see an impact on the environment. Now, this is my hired miner who's going to demonstrate mining for us today on my rock mountain. This is Slightly, and I think you owe him your great appreciation, as he is going to demonstrate mining as no human possibly can.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing. What a miner. Now, it's important for me to note, this is not the most common type of mining. This is called pit mining, which is different than tunnel mining and is more destructive towards the environment.
It's important that we recognize the profound impact that human activities can have on the natural environment. Look at this. Who knows what might have been impacted by our mining activities today? If there had been humans, plants, animals, wildlife living on this place, they would have had a profound and negative, catastrophic consequence. It's so important that before we do things like this that affect the natural environment, that we be smart about it, that we do environmental assessments, that we conduct surveys with experts who know the best about whatever might be affected by how we're treating the world around us. This has been today's adventure on my little rock mountain. Welcome back! What did we learn today? We learned about what mountains are. We know that they are a landform that commonly has peaks, they're found in chains, they are very tall, and they have a different climate than the land that surrounds them. We learned about how mountains are formed, with the colossal movement of tectonic plates crashing into each other to thrust the Earth into the sky. And we learned a bit about how mountains are changed over time, with natural processes like erosion, where wind or rain or ice or glacial movement or even extraterrestrial impact can change the shape of a mountain. We also learned about how humans can impact this environment, with things like mining, road building, railway building can really change not only the physical structure of a mountain, but also its habitat and environment, where the land, the plants, the animals can all be drastically impacted by human intervention. Now it is your turn. To continue to explore and learn about mountains, please check out the lesson that was paired with this video for activities and resources to help you further understand and appreciate how awesome mountains are. I'm going to leave you today with a question. What do you think? Is a mountain that is tall, sharp, and pointy an example of a mountain that is newly formed or a mountain that is extremely old? What do you think? Why do you think that? Until next time, I'm Mr. Peters. Bye!